What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unqualified Sports Talk. This is episode 4, another big week in the sporting world. We're going to dive into the three major sports like we usually do: football, basketball, and baseball. But today, we have a really special guest with us. Following up the Jared the Mountain Vandera UFC heavyweight interview, we have Chris Herren Jr. And guys, welcome Chris Herren Jr. to Unqualified Sports Talk. And guess what? He's qualified, everyone. Kind of 2 times now. But let's jump right into it. Chris, we just want to get a little bit about your background, life before Boston College. Just tell us a little bit about that. You growing up, your little high school days.
Yeah, so I'm right here. I'm in my hometown right now. I just got back home like 3-4 weeks ago. But we kind of moved around when I was little, so we finally landed in Portsmouth when I was in like late elementary school. Been here ever since. I went to high school my first 2 years here at public school. And then I went to this private school called Tabor Academy. Where are you guys from again?
We're from North Carolina.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know how it is over there, but in the East Coast, it's like all prep school is like super big here for sports.
Yeah.
Like
If you
can't
want to
go
do
to
anything
public
in
school.
basketball, football, you're going to a private
Yeah,
school,
you
a
have
prep
to go to
school.
prep school. So then I repeated my sophomore year at Tabor Academy in Massachusetts. I did 2 years there. Still had one more year. Like a lot of people do that fifth year, but I left early. Then I went to BC. Um, yeah, and then it all went from there.
Yeah, that's
Do you want
awesome.
me to talk about like college a little bit, like where I'm at now?
We'll start off a little bit. You can tell us a little about your Boston College days and maybe compare it a little bit to, we know you had like a half a season at San Diego. Was
Yeah.
there a big difference from transferring, from a ACC powerhouse type school to over on the West Coast in the West Coast Conference playing at San Diego?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's so many differences this year because of like how bad COVID was in San Diego. Like we couldn't do anything. It was so bad.
Yeah, like all y'all's games were canceled at the beginning of the
Yeah,
season.
but we had like I'm not sure the exact number, but like 6 or 7 quarantines I was in, and that was 2 weeks every single time.
God.
So I was sitting in that apartment for like months on end, like doing nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you
And are
do?
those
What do you do
are
during
the
that time? Just play video games?
Oh yeah, that's all I could do. I literally just I was
sheesh.
actually I was hyped that you guys had that UFC fighter on because I'm a huge UFC fan. So
Yeah.
Let's go.
just
Yeah, it was
rooting,
Yeah.
I'm
awesome
rooting
being
you
able to
on.
talk to Jared. Unfortunately, he lost his first fight, but
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
we're
cool being
still
able to
rooting
talk
them
to
on.
him, pick his mind.
yeah, no doubt.
And were those quarantines, were those a lot of contact tracing, or were those off of like positive tests? Because no one really releases a lot of that information.
Yeah, well, like they said that they were positive tests. Almost every single test that we had that came back positive, the person tested negative the next day, and they weren't even sick, except for 2 times. So all the other times we had to like stick the 2 weeks out, and nobody was even sick. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Dude, that had to be so annoying.
Oh yeah, it was so frustrating.
Yeah,
But
and that
yeah.
and that just kind of goes to show with where the money's at. Because with the NFL, if you test so many negative times, you can play that week.
Oh
But in
yeah,
college basketball, they make you sit out 2 weeks for no
yeah,
reason, effectively.
yeah. Every single time, and ours was like we had to follow the like San Diego County rules,
Hmm.
and like it got so bad there that our rules got even worse. So like at first they were like, oh, you can test out of a false positive. So like if someone tested positive, then the next day they tested negative, then we wouldn't have to do the 2 weeks. Then it got so bad there that even if you had a false positive, they just said 2 weeks no matter what. And then
Wow.
that was when we got to the point where we were like, you know, like this is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Was that for like, were all the teams in the West Coast Conference kind of like that, or was that kind of specific to San Diego just because it was so bad there?
Um, I mean, I can't picture another team getting it worse than we had it.
Yeah.
But like I know Gonzaga had like they could play even though they were like they had 2 guys stay at their like I forgot where they were at, but they had an away game and 2 guys tested positive. So those guys stayed there for 2 weeks where their
Hmm.
away game
Hmm.
was. and then the rest of the team kept playing. But like when that happened to us, like the whole team got shut down, and like we all had to quarantine.
Dang.
That's weird. That almost
double
seems kind of
standard.
biased because, obviously Gonzaga's on top of the world right now.
Yeah,
They're wanting them
exactly.
to play every game they possibly can.
Yeah.
Well, except the Baylor game, because
Oh,
of
yeah,
course
the
not.
Baylor. Because they didn't want Gonzaga to lose.
Exactly. Low conspiracy here on Unqualified Sports Talk. Remember, we're unqualified.
So with you going from, again, Boston College to San Diego, was there any obviously, again, we're going to highlight, ACC, obviously powerhouse conference, transferring over to the West Coast Conference. Was there any difference in workouts and expectations going over to the Western Coast Conference, or is it mostly the same?
I feel like, I mean, basketball, like people can say, obviously, like the talent is better in the teams that you're playing against. And like, just like, I mean, ACC, like you're playing against grown men, that are jumping 40 inches and running, like if they were in the NFL combine, they're running like 4.4s and 4.5s, like easily. But that's not the same, but like basketball wise, it's just basketball.
Yeah.
Like the facilities weren't as nice. Like even though BC doesn't have the nicest in the ACC, like by a long shot. But yeah, like that's definitely a difference. Like how we traveled, like we're still taking commercial flights at San Diego. BC, we're taking all chartered flights, private jets. So yeah, those are some of the
I bet that was a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even. So I didn't travel once. The only away game that I was traveling to, that I was able to travel to, that we flew to, we were going to Arizona. We got on the flight, and 5 minutes after we sat down, this kid got an email that he had a positive test, so we had to get off the flight.
Right off.
So I never went on a flight for school there.
That's wild.
Yeah. It was ridiculous, and that kid wasn't even sick. So
again, just another asymptomatic test. It seems to be the theme with y'all.
Yeah, it was brutal.
So now obviously we have to ask, why did you move from Boston College to San Diego? What were the thoughts going through your mind there?
Well, I think like when I was at BC, like my freshman year, like I just kind of got due to certain circumstances, and like I just kind of got thrown into it. So I got all that really good experience. I got to play a lot more than I was expecting to my freshman year. So my mind was just kind of in that. And then my sophomore year, like it was a really hard year for me, like mentally, just dealing with how basketball was going. And then I kind of realized that, like, I think that's when I started realizing that basketball was just kind of getting old for me. Like I need to be like really passionate about something if I'm gonna do it, because like you have to put so much time in and you gotta work like your ass off to
it's essentially a full-time job.
Yeah. So and I'm not the type of person that wants to like half-ass it and just kind of go through the motion. So I was like, maybe it's just BC, like maybe I'm just not happy here, and I didn't really know at the time. So then I went to San Diego, and maybe it would have been differently if we did have like a real year.
Yeah.
But I just kind of felt the same way about basketball. It like almost became a chore for me. And then probably like right after Christmas when we came back, I just kind of like called it, and I was like, I'm not gonna keep doing this, and like it's like miserable for me. So yeah, that's how I got to where I'm at now. But now I'm like, I feel so happy, like happiest I ever have since college.
That's awesome, man. I'm happy that you got to realize that and make another big decision. You told us earlier that there's some big news. You're switching gears to play some football.
Yeah,
let's hear about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I actually have never played football. Like
really, not even in high school, nothing.
No, but I mean, football has always been like my. I've always told people it was my favorite thing to watch, and like I've actually always had like a passion for it. But so like when I first started thinking about it, I started thinking about it a while ago. It like kind of felt like a crazy idea.
Yeah.
But then, and it is a crazy idea, but I was just kind of like I got these last 2 years left to play a sport, and like this is what I really want to do. So why would I just like give it up just because I think it's like too crazy of an idea? And like, so I plan on playing like wide receiver. I've been working out, doing that type of stuff for like ever since I got home.
Yes, sir. You're going to be a Hall of Fame slot receiver in Bill Belichick system.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, now I got the height advantage in football for being a wide
for
receiver.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When in basketball, I had no height advantage.
Big difference.
Yeah. So that's another plus.
So yeah, you said you're going to be wide receiver. You think about being any sort of DB or safety or anything?
No, I just think that those positions are too hard to learn late. Like all the people that I know a ton of people that like play football and coach football. Actually, my roommates at BC are all still playing at BC football. And like they all said that like wide receiver and tight end are like the easiest to switch over from basketball. So and like DB and safety, it's like all like reading the coverages and like reading plays, and I don't know any of that. So
come on, man, you haven't done enough studying in Madden.
Yeah.
Do you play Madden?
Oh, I love Madden. That's the only sports game that I play.
Yes, sir. Ultimate Team all day, every day. Am I right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Go ahead, Austin.
I was just gonna say I don't know any 6'3" corners that are going to be able to run with a former basketball player, especially in the West Coast Conference.
There you
so
go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
height advantage, speed advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm actually like excited to do all that. Like, I don't know, like my 40 time. I don't know my vertical at all. So
yeah, that will be fun.
That's gotta be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to test all that. So
any idea where you want to play football?
I keep telling everybody this. Like, I'll go wherever. Like, I want to play at a D1 school, but I'll go wherever that is fine with taking a kid that just played basketball his whole life.
Yeah. Is BC on the list there at all?
They're probably a little too high level for me. I want to like actually be able to like play there eventually, like and like have a good career.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean,
yeah, I don't even know how good I am, to be honest. Like in an actual game, like I know I can catch and run, but
you said you've been doing a lot of workouts to help prepare for that.
Yeah, one of my dad's friends is played wide receiver in college, and he like knows a ton of stuff about all of that. Like he's been through it all. So I work out with him. Like I was working out with him like 3-4 times a week, but it's freezing here, so and there's nowhere to go. So we need like an indoor turf, and like we can't get it every day. So it's a tough situation right now. Yeah.
I bet you're jealous. It's gonna be 80 here on Sunday. So
I think it's like, I was just checking it. Let me see. It's 36 right now. And it's supposed to be pouring raining by midnight tonight. So
that sounds wonderful, dude. That's the best weather ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for playing football.
Yeah, perfect weather for that.
I guess he will be suited to be in New England Bill Belichick system with that weather.
There we go. There you go. Hometown kid.
He left,
up that story.
What's his name? Chris Hogan. He played lacrosse all his college career. So
I did not know that at all.
Yeah.
And now he's in the major MLL.
Yeah. He's playing lacrosse now, professional lacrosse.
Wait, after his little Panthers gig, he dipped?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was wondering why I didn't hear anything about him.
Yeah, crazy.
That is crazy. I feel like he was a super prominent receiver when he was with the Patriots.
Yeah, he was. I know he won 2 Super Bowls there, so that's a crazy athletic career that he has.
That's wild, and he just decided to dip to play lacrosse.
Yeah. I think that's like his true love, though, so that's what he said.
It makes sense. He made probably all the money in the world that he needed to playing in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
You can support him and his family forever. But back to you. Do you feel like you're well prepared for the change in physical demands when it comes to basketball and football?
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, when I'm home, I'm really, all the people that I'm like really close to are like working out all the time, and like the guy that I like lift and train with is like a really good family friend of ours. So like, just getting prepared for that, and he
Hold up, we're losing you, Chris.
well, so
Hello, can you hear us?
all those people that I'm like kind of surrounded with are like. Can you hear me now?
Wait, try
yeah,
again.
it's coming back.
Yeah, there we go. I think we're good now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened
That was
because
weird.
yeah, you guys weren't even cutting out for me.
That's really weird.
Oh, what was the last thing you heard? I was like,
You said you were lifting weights with some buddies.
so the guy that I actually train with and like work out with is like he knows a ton about football. He actually used to play football in college.
Mhm.
So kind of all the people that I'm like surrounded with already know a lot about football. So they're like just helping me as I go because like as I said, I don't know too much about it, but I'm like having fun learning about it.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, it's going to
And-
be a fun career step for you.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
definitely.
Carson.
And do you have a clear next step? Like, is there some sort of local 7-on-7 league, or have these guys recommended you somewhere? Like, what is your personal goal for like your next step in this?
Right now I'm like literally just learning the basics of it. Like just kind of getting used to everything. So if I do something like that, then I can just be like kind of go out there and like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think right now like there's a lot of FCS teams that play around here in New England. Like there's not a lot of FBS teams besides like BC.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, and their season's all right now. So like all of those guys are at school right now. Like I know a few guys that play at UNH that they're playing in like a week or so. So all that stuff is like only high school kids. And they're
Mhm.
actually playing right now too. So like there's like nothing going on besides that.
So yeah, all you can do is really just train by yourself.
Yeah, so I gotta wait until like the summer pretty much. But it's not bad because I have time to like get used to everything, and then by the time summer comes and dudes start coming back home, I'll just kind of be like situated with everything.
Yep. You think you'll be able to take a hit?
I think I can. I've always loved like playing with contact and stuff. So I mean, it'll definitely be different. My biggest thing is like wearing a helmet while you catch because I've never like I bought a helmet the other day and I have it. And I've been trying to work out with it, and it's just like so different. So
I'm sure. I mean, I've never played football, just flag football, but I'm sure it's way different.
flag football is great though.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Austin, were you about to say something?
I was just gonna say,
doesn't help.
going from like running on the court where it's hardwood and there's less people, and not wearing a helmet and wearing a tank top and shorts is one thing. It's like you get those football pads on and it's like I feel like I'm 50 pounds heavier and my head is like a bobblehead. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think I'm the
No,
only one
I
here that's
definitely-
played. So
I need to start doing like neck workouts or something. Get used to that helmet.
just wear it around the house. Just
Yeah,
eat
exactly.
with it on, sleep with it on, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, thanks for telling us about your next step, big football news. I know we're excited to see.
Huge news.
Yeah.
We're excited to see what's going
Out
to
of
happen with
nowhere.
that. I know it was
Yeah.
completely. When you
No, I
said-
Surprised
literally,
us
like,
too.
besides like you guys and like my close friends and like my family and like maybe a few other people, like I haven't told anybody, but
that's
I'm not
great.
like trying to keep it a secret, but
Yeah, well, we appreciate you telling us. Obviously, with it being on the podcast, it's going to be out there, so it better not be a secret.
yeah, exactly.
Well, we hope it'll be out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be out there. How'd you guys come up with the name Unqualified?
Well, I mean, all of us are unqualified. None of us have played
Yeah, honestly,
any sports
it
outside of
was
like
just-
the high school level. So
Yeah.
it was just brainstorming, and then as soon as I heard it, I knew that was it. That had to be it because it's
Yeah.
really good.
No, yeah, I like it. It's like catchy and like you guys can have like a good intro with it. So
yeah, we
Yeah.
like calling our guests our qualified friends of the
Yeah.
show.
yeah.
And you
And it just
go ahead,
you go.
Carson. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it doesn't feel right to call it or call it podcast, have podcast in the name. I think having an Unqualified Sports Talk is
Yeah.
like pretty cool.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was just
Austin,
gonna
what you
say you're not the only qualified person though in your family. Obviously, a lot of people know your dad,
Ooh.
and
Yeah.
everything that he did. He's NBA player, and then obviously a Boston College legend. So
Yeah.
what's that like? Like being the son of an NBA player and living in that reality where your dad is like a super big person in the Boston College like history.
Yeah. To be honest, like it doesn't really like even cross my mind. Like I know it's hard to say just because like that is the reality, but like I've been like talking about that and like dealing with that since I started playing basketball.
Yeah.
But like at this point, it's almost like people. I mean, it might be different in other places, but like in like my area in Rhode Island in Massachusetts, like people almost don't even think about it like that, I guess, unless like the older people that grew up with him, like they always come up to me and be like, "Oh, your dad was like." Like I used to watch him. I used to go to his games. Like he was great, and that's like awesome to hear because like these people, like that was like however many years ago, and they're still coming up to me and like talking about that. So yeah, it's really cool when like stuff like that. But obviously, like there's other things that come with it. There's pros and cons to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, sports fans are absolutely some of the most loyal people in the world, and
Oh yeah,
honestly, college sports fans are twice as loyal, and
yeah,
that's really cool though. So, did you ever think about in your time at BC, like, man, it's really cool to be representing like my family again here, and to
yeah,
kind of like wear that name again?
yeah. Like that was always like when I first, because like a lot of people don't know. When I was I forget what year it was. Like how I said that I had one more year of high school. I was technically a junior when I left. But so the summer before my junior year, I got an offer from Boston College, and that was the only one that I had at the time. And before I got to play junior year, like summer AU, which is like usually the summer that like everybody kind of decides where they're gonna go, or like where all the coaches kind of offer you. I got a stress fracture in my back, and I was out for like 4 or 5 months, and I couldn't play at all.
Gosh.
And then I like was like kind of sick of high school. Like all my friends were like sophomores in college at the time. All my friends from home. So I was kind of miserable at school too. And I was like, I'm just gonna go to BC. And it wasn't like just like kind of like I guess I'm gonna go there. Like I really did want to go there, but like another part of it was like, do I want to go to the same school that like my uncle and my dad went to? But then at the end of the day, I was like, why would I let that stop me from going to the place that I want to go?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's like also a really cool thing that I get to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else to say about it other than that's just so cool. and to
Yeah.
I can imagine being a part of an athletic family like yours is just there's so much to talk about, so many stories, of your dad's time. And
Yeah, like my dad's not like, he doesn't honestly really talk about any like old sports stories at all, but my uncle's like the complete opposite.
That's all he
He'll
does.
tell me everything and like all of his stories. So it's funny how I got like the two sides of it. But yeah.
I bet family gatherings are fun, being able to
Oh yeah.
go back and forth with each other, all being qualified elite athletes.
Yeah, no, it is fun.
so if you
Carson, oh, go ahead,
I was
Austin.
just say if you've watched our show before, you know that we do a top 3 segment. That's like one of our weekly things that we do. So Bryce and Carson are gonna clue you in on this one. I'm omitted from this one, and you'll know why whenever you hear it. But I'll hand it over to whichever one of them wants to take it for our top 3 of the week.
Carson, take the reins.
Whew. Well, our top 3 this week, it's a very special week with our very special guest. We've got top 3 future songs.
Top 3 future songs.
Me and Carson can kick it off for you because obviously
we'll
that's
give
a
you a
super
little time
loaded
to think about
question.
Okay. Oh, so you guys got a top 3 as well?
Of course.
Yeah, we got our
Okay.
top 3 future songs.
And you know we saw your Spotify Wrapped, so
Yeah.
Obviously.
we had to ask it.
And
Yeah.
Austin doesn't do future, so we're taking this
It's
one
all
from
good. Everybody. What kind of music do you like, Austin?
I mean, I like a lot of music. I'm just not familiar with Future. Honestly,
okay.
today was the first time I'd listened to him. So
I got you.
Which is wild.
yeah.
so wild.
That is crazy though.
I'm surprised you haven't even heard like Mask Off before, Austin. That
Yeah,
might be the
he
most
has, like, a
popular
ton
one.
of
Because
good
everyone
people.
has.
Yeah.
Only in memes, and I didn't know it was a Future song. So
Okay.
only
Fair.
in COVID memes.
All right, Bryce, let's hear it.
All right, I'm going first. Number 3 coming in, Low Life. Obviously a
Okay.
classic. The Weeknd's a beast.
Yeah, Weeknd's great.
Not the best Super Bowl show, but we'll give him. We'll still give him props for Low Life. Number 2, we got Solitaries, Future's newest album with Travis Scott. It's a freaking banger. You can listen to it all day. And
Yes,
I'm
sir.
known for giving a little bit of controversial top 3s that might be
Very.
pushing the limit a little bit. But this necessarily isn't a Future song, but in my opinion it is because I think he has the most time in the song. It's D. Pharrell with Future, Drake, and Young Thug. And it actually might be my favorite song of all 2020.
Well,
Wow.
can you give us a money counter sound?
Money count up.
Yes, sir. That wasn't bad.
Not at all.
You might be next up, right?
You never know.
Yeah.
I want to do ad libs for a living one day, so I got my Playboy Cardi ad libs down. Now I'm just trying to get Future.
Yeah. That's
Well, I mean,
great.
he's good at them, so it'll probably take you a little while.
Yeah.
Cardi's
Carson,
just pretty goofy.
Let's hear your top 3.
Well, I have to represent. So number 3 is probably one of the top 5 songs of all time is March Madness.
Oh yeah.
It's elite. And then number 2, it's a difficult decision, but Perky's Calling.
You know a lot about that, Carson.
It's an instant classic. Instant classic. I promise. And then number 1, I've thought about it a lot, but I have to put the Life is Good remix, and it's a little shameful to put that, but Future goes in on that first beat. It's unreal.
But so do the Babies,
Yeah, so do the Babies. I mean, the Babies are blowing it up right
which
now.
they
Good
need to
for them.
have. They need to have a joint album called The Babies.
The Babies. I
They
promise.
should do that. That would actually be huge.
I know.
Everybody-
It would blow up.
Yeah.
The Baby from the 704, right here where I am.
Yep.
Sir.
We love him around here.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, let's hear your top 3 favorite Future songs of all time.
I don't know.
Probably the toughest question ever, but you have to answer it.
Yeah.
By far the toughest.
Can I look? I might need to look through on my Spotify.
Oh,
Go for it. Go
absolutely.
for it.
Take all the time you need. We need your best 3.
All right, let me check. Yeah. I want to be authentic about it, so
Yeah, we don't want to hear just 3 mainstream
I
songs.
might be.
Boy.
I think I have my number 1 off the top. Where is this thing? My number 1 is. Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We just can't really.
Yeah,
you're not moving.
I think you're back.
Yep, you're back.
Am I frozen now?
No, you're good.
I think
All
we're good now.
All right. I don't know why this keeps happening.
No,
This
that's
is exactly where I go to. I go to my classes too, and nothing happens. My number 1 is For the Gang.
Yes, sir.
For the
That's number
gang.
1. On Super Slimy. My number 2. Sheesh. I'm gonna have to go with the older one. Probably. Thought It Was a Drought on DS2
Mm-hmm.
because that's the first song, and I remember listening to it the first time, and I was the first thing that he said, he's like, "I just put."
Carson, I thought one of yours was going to be F up some commas.
It was a very tough omission, I promise.
Yeah.
But it's speaking some truth.
And then I don't know my last one. I think I gotta go either group home or yeah, I think that one, because Super Slimy is like my favorite album, one of my favorite albums of all time. So I gotta have two from that.
Super Slammy's him and Thugger, right?
Yeah, he's probably like my second favorite. So
Young Thug's your second favorite rapper?
yeah,
We love him too.
yeah,
That might be our top 3 next time you're on the show.
yeah, Young Thug.
Yeah, there we go. You can start preparing that list
We
now.
should do top 3 like non-rap songs. That would be interesting.
Oh.
That'd be good too.
Yeah, because I've been trying to switch it up lately.
Are you a country guy at all?
I actually found I always hated country music, and then what was it? It was a Morgan Wallen song.
I don't listen to country, and I'm from the South.
7 summers ago. I don't know if you heard that song.
Probably, but
I'm not an avid country listener.
That's the only country song I know, really, but I love
Really?
it for some reason.
I know Devil Went Down to Georgia.
I don't know that.
Yes, I promise you do, Chris.
You have to.
I promise you've heard it.
I probably
maybe heard it on the Golden Fiddle.
Yeah. But yeah.
Man.
Well, that's our money segment. That's our big segment. Everybody's waiting to hear it, and we thought we'd pull out one of our hard hitting ones for you. So
Yeah, that was a good question, because like ranking things is always tough, but that's a good like question to ask.
And now for the rest of your life, if someone says, what are your top 3 future songs? Boom,
Nah,
you got 'em.
off the top.
you say you're just gonna send them a link.
Yeah. He's kind of falling off, though. I'm not gonna lie. So I think it's gonna stay the same unless he just comes out with like something crazy. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we've got one more big question to ask you, and I know it's something me and Bryce have been talking about a lot. We really, really want to see the next step of your career as being the next Bachelor.
If you got the call today, would you do it?
Would you take it?
That's actually crazy that you asked that, though, because the kids that I was talking about, my old roommates at BC that play football, he literally texted me yesterday because he like loves watching The Bachelor, and
So
he
do
was
I.
like, we all want you to go on the show.
No
I was
way.
like, I don't think they would take me, because most of the guys that go on are like 29 or something.
Well, what you got? 8 more
7
years?
years, 7, 8 years.
7, 8 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got time to prepare.
Yeah.
We're allowed to nominate people, so I think all 3 of us are just going to nominate you.
Yeah, I mean, my nomination's already been sent in. I
Yeah,
promise.
me too.
Yeah. They're like 7 years from now, we want Chris to go on.
But hypothetically, if you got asked, would you go on the show?
I wouldn't go on The Bachelorette, but I would go on The Bachelor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's
Have
how
30
a
women
lot of
absolutely
people
simping
feel.
after you.
Yeah, if you don't say that, like I'm kind of questioning your logic. Then you're just kind of going on the show to get famous.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you actually ever watch it? Because this is my first time ever watching it this season, and I'm kind of in love with it.
No, I've never watched it, but one I started watching was Love Island.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard. Have you heard of Love Island?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I watched the UK version though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why, I just like it though.
That's one that I've seen that has a lot of criticism though, so I'm surprised. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch Cody Co? Like,
Of course.
yeah.
yes,
So
Love Island.
yeah. I started watching it after I saw those, and I was like, I need more of this. Like,
Me and
Yes,
Carson
sir.
probably binged that over the weekend.
yeah, we binged that whole Love Island.
yeah,
game
no, me
series.
and my friends watched the same thing. I found the first one. I was like, I'm not watching any of them until I see my friends again, because I need to show them this.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, I watched like a whole season of that. That's another thing I did in quarantine. I watched all of Love Island. So
Yeah, I've probably fallen in love with about 8 girls watching The Bachelor this year, so I recommend you watching it.
yeah, maybe that's what I'll watch now, because
Yeah.
I've never watched it before. I need to know what I'm getting myself into.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would be great though.
Yeah, I'll go
Then
ahead
do
and
it.
send a
Well, there you
DM to
have it.
Warner Bros. Let them know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
7
want to
years
know.
from now, they got a candidate.
Yeah. How do they how do you send in a submission? Do you need to like put in a video or something? Like I
I
don't
have
know.
no idea.
I'm sure they say it. Do they not say it on The Bachelor? I
They
have no
They
idea.
do, but you gotta like go to a website, and I've never been to the website.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
they? Don't they
I'll
like
check
pick
it
guys
out
off The
after.
Bachelorette?
This dude on it now hasn't been.
Because I know
He played
the last
football at Wake.
Bachelorette was picked off The Bachelor.
Really?
Really?
This is my first time, Carson.
And I don't know anything about it. I know
Oh,
the
so
one.
none
Go
of you
ahead.
guys have seen it besides Bryce?
Yeah,
I've
but
seen like 3 episodes, and
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've seen like 6. I've only started watching this season.
Yeah.
the one guy from The Bachelorette the last season was at one of our NC State football games because all the
Wait,
girls were
is he
going
from
crazy
North
posting.
Carolina?
I'm not exactly sure why he was there. I don't know much about him, but he was there for some reason.
Okay.
He was walking out on the field, and all the girls are going crazy, and
That's funny.
they made a big fuss about it.
Yeah. I actually have a crazy story. When I was like, I think I was in second or first grade. No, I was a little older than that. It might have been like early middle school. But me and my friend went with like my dad and his dad to Duke, and we like went and checked it out. And just for fun, because we were like huge college basketball fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also had a friend, like a family friend that played on Duke at the time, and they played at NC State. So we went to the game. We were in the Duke family section, and it was the game where NC State like upset them. Like Duke was like number 2 in the country, and everybody rushed the floor, and this kid in a wheelchair like got tossed over, and an NC State player like picked the kid up and like brought him off the court and like saved him basically. And like we all saw it like with our own eyes, like looking at it the whole time.
What?
Wow.
That
Yeah.
is unreal.
Yeah. And I think they still show it on ESPN sometimes, because I saw it like a year ago.
I think I actually just recently heard that story, and that kid went on like Good Morning America or something after that. But
You know, it was nuts. And like we were like pretty young, and like I always remember that because like how crazy it was. Like we had people like climbing over like the row behind us, and we were like, we gotta get the hell out of here because like kids are crazy.
yeah, NC State fans are notorious for being a little overboard.
Yeah.
But me and Carson got to be a part of we
did.
beat Duke last year. We got to storm the court. But yeah, that was fun. Well, Chris, we don't want to keep you forever. We understand you got things to do.
That was my little brother back in there.
But we really appreciate you coming on Unqualified Sports and being our qualified guest. And man, we hope to have you back on here some other time.
Yeah, no, I would love to. It was fun.
Wow. What another amazing interview with Chris Herren Jr. If you don't know who he is, make sure to go check him out. Find him on Instagram and other social media sites. Truly just a great guy, and glad to have him as a friend of the podcast, honestly. Unqualified
Guys,
Sports
he's a
Talk.
qualified friend of the show. Let's go.
I know,
Yeah, our
number
second
2.
qualified friend of the show.
It's awesome. And
It is, and we're excited to see him on The Bachelor next year.
True. I was going to say that.
So excited.
He's going to be a TV sensation.
Girls are going to go crazy, and he was just actually fun to talk to. So you love to see guys like that in sports, and we love to have him on the podcast. And couldn't really think of a better second guest for us.
Yep,
second qualified guest.
Can't wait to have him back on the show. We can guarantee he'll be back.
Guarantee it.
And speaking of Carson, you mentioned having just good, wholesome people on the show. I'm going a little bit outside of our notes, but I'm going to bring up J.J. Watt because obviously some big news coming with him this week, and we all think of him as a good member of the NFL, a good member of the community. Did a lot of good things in Houston.
Great guy.
Congrats, J.J. Watt, on being our Walter Payton Man of the Year in our hearts.
Hey, congratulations, J.J. Watt.
Yeah, most important award in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, if you live under a rock, he signed with the Arizona Cardinals. So Carson, Bryce, what do you guys think about that move?
Well, it's not necessarily a move I love, but congratulations to J.J. Watt and congratulations to the Cardinals. I mean, it's a big move, it's a headline-breaking move, but I don't think it moves the needle for the Cardinals, and I don't think it moves the needle for J.J. Watt. I don't particularly see them being a title contender, and that could be seen as a hot take, given that they have, the offensive stud at quarterback with Kyler Murray, and then a really, really good defense that I don't think is being talked about enough. All the headlines go to him and Chandler Jones. But they still have a lot of holes. They have a lot of holes on the offensive line. They don't really have much after D-Hop at receiver. And then there are some really big holes, specifically in the middle of the defense. So I don't necessarily see it as a winning move like some of the other teams could have been for JJ. But hey, it's great for the Cardinals. He's going to bring them a lot of money. He's going to bring them a lot of publicity, and good for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar to that. They might not, because this move be winning in terms of the W column, but it's for sure a win for the Cardinals in terms of money, in terms of TV time, because bringing in a big name like that's going to get you a lot more national attention, and obviously more money for the Cardinals, the better. But the side that really matters and the side that we care about is the W's in the win column, and I just don't see those climbing exponentially because of J.J. Watt. Players at that position are few and far between who are actually game changers. And at one point in time, J.J. Watt was a game changer, but we kind of talked about this last week, how he's getting older. He's not going to be getting better. He's only going to be declining from here. I mean, it's a great addition, but it doesn't really necessarily make you a contender unless you get other people surrounding that as well. Which, they do have a couple, but it's going to take more than Chandler Jones and Budda Baker to make anything happen on that defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost see this as much of a life decision for J.J. Watt as it is a football decision, because you don't have to move to one of the super, I'll call it high intensity, high demand places like New York, L.A., right? You don't have to move to one of those places, and also that saves you money in taxes and stuff like that. But you get to go to a place that's fairly relaxed and a place that has a good football team that very well could win, definitely could make the playoffs, and a team that gives you a chance to not have to be the main guy on the defense. You get to be a part of a system, probably something that J.J. Watt's never really experienced at the NFL level. So I think it's a good move, especially as, even though he is still an excellent player, definitely on the downside of his career. But looking forward to what comes from this move. So
yeah, and that being said, I actually did bet money that the Cardinals were going to win the NFC this year, just because they have all the talent in the world in the offensive end, and with a good offense, anything could happen.
Anything.
But that could still hold true, especially with the defense maybe buffing up a little bit. I mean, we have to ask ourselves, is Arizona going to be a ring-chasing destination this year, like we saw with the Bucks last year, and how we see the NBA with teams such as the Warriors and the Lakers as of lately?
And well, there's a quick answer to that, and it's most definitely no, because obviously we saw it with the Bucks, because everyone wants to play with Tom Brady, and no one can be compared to him. But if there was a guy, it would be J.J. Watt, because of what he brings off the field and on the field, just as a personality, as a guy, a really good guy, and as a competitor. But clearly, no one went to join him in Houston, and I don't think it's going to happen now. Austin, I know you have the really good stat on deck about J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones, if you want to pull that out right now.
Oh, the one where they have the highest number of sacks as a two-man pair since 2012?
Yeah, first and second since 2012 in sacks. Or Chandler Jones 1 and J.J. Watt 2. So now they're both on the same team.
Yeah, which putting them on the opposite side of the line with each other is like offensive tackles. Have fun. Running backs.
Fun with it, but that's assuming both of them are healthy.
True.
Which they both weren't last year.
Yeah, that is. But also, I mean, we've seen them be healthy, so it's not like they've been super, super plagued with that. JJ's had his bad health years, but hopefully, of course, they both stay healthy, play 16 games.
Yep.
Both 31 years old, so we'll see if those sack numbers keep climbing at the rate that they have been. But 97 sacks for Chandler Jones in 8 years, and 95.5 for JJ. So maybe they'll make it. Maybe they'll both get to 100 this year and slow it down.
We'll have a 100-sack celebration for them. Congratulations on 100 sacks, J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones.
Congratulations.
But, we'll see what happens with them. It's going to be obviously something the media keeps an eye on, that we'll keep an eye on. We'll keep you all updated with that. But now going forward to our QB Mania segment. Today we're focusing on the Jets. Quarterback Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
Will he get traded? Number 1. And where's he going if he does get traded? Number 2. And number 3, at what cost? Austin, start us off.
Jets, bad.
Well, it didn't spell that, but
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's synonymous at this point.
Okay, yeah.
Because the Jets are awful, and they have been awful my entire life, and I would have it no other way. But if they want to be good,
most random Jets player you can possibly name of all time.
Couldn't tell you. It's
I'll start with
Jamal Adams.
I don't know why that just popped in my mind, but LaDainian Tomlinson played for the Jets.
Wow. Who'd have ever thought? Brett Favre.
Yeah, I was going to say
Brett Favre
played for the Jets.
That's weird.
But
one of the greatest players of all time played for the Jets.
Okay, exactly. but back to Sam Darnold.
Yeah, if you're the Jets and you're sitting where you are in the draft and you're sitting where you are with Sam Darnold, I don't see any reason to keep him. There's got to be some team that you can just make an absolute fool of in the league by giving him to them and taking their draft picks or assets from them and drafting your guy in the draft and then getting something to put beside him later on. I don't think Sam Darnold carries nearly the weight, the market value that he carried a few years ago whenever he looked like he might have some upside in the league. Now, of course, I could be wrong, and it could just be that organization is just, to use the word of the people, dog water, and it's just so bad that no quarterback could succeed there. But if I'm the Jets, he's gone. We're bringing in a fresh face. We're getting rid of Adam Gase. We're running him so far out of New York that he literally can't even spell New York anymore. He's so far away because it's just not worked.
That's pretty far.
Yeah, so he's going to like Texas. He's going to Jerry World.
Far.
And I mean, I wouldn't say Sam Darnold's a terrible quarterback. I think he's still very unproven. He hasn't had anything around him, so he could have a career resurgence wherever he goes. But I do agree with you, Austin. He does need to get traded, and I don't know if that means for the Jets drafting a new quarterback or picking up a quarterback in free agency, just because those seem to be pretty. There's a lot of quarterbacks in free agency this year.
A lot.
There's also a lot of quarterbacks in the draft, so there's no telling what they'll do there. But he might be good enough to get a second rounder, maybe a super late first rounder if you're super lucky, because I do think a lot of people still see a lot of upside in him. He's a talented guy. He's hadn't had anything around him his whole career. But I think an interesting spot for him would be the Panthers if they don't get Deshaun, just because, I mean, everything we're seeing, if Deshaun does go anywhere right now, it looks like Panthers are one of the top choices. But if they don't get Deshaun, why not go for Sam Darnold? Why not go for a young guy who hasn't been plagued by injury like Teddy Bridgewater? You're not going to have to pay him the whole bucket of money that you're paying other quarterbacks from free agency right now. So take a shot on the guy. He's young. He's fun. He's a familiar face, one that'll bring you publicity, unlike probably Teddy Bridgewater. He's just, at this point, kind of a good comeback story. But we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I mean, can't really have said it better. I had Carolina on my list as well. I think that of all places to go, it's a place with a good defense that is also young, with actual stars at all three levels, as well as stars on the offense in terms of at receiver, as well as Christian McCaffrey. Like, they have good receivers.
They do.
And they have arguably the best running back in the league. So I think that's a really good place to watch out for. I don't necessarily see them making a move because I think Carolina wants a franchise quarterback that they can trust day one, because I think they can compete if they have that guy. And I don't necessarily think Sam Darnold is that guy right now. But give him a year in a system, and maybe he's got the best chance to succeed. That's why I have my eyes out on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But they just signed Big Ben today.
Yep, just made a big move to sign Big Ben. And I think you got to watch out for him. Maybe make a move for Sam Darnold. Give him a year under Big Ben. Get used to everything that's going on in Pittsburgh. They have a great coach. They have a great defense. And, hopefully they have a year to get a running game for Sam Darnold, and give him a year. And, hey, maybe having a system that has worked before and has ever been a winning franchise in our lifetimes, maybe that can turn him into a good quarterback, and I hope so for his sake.
Yeah, but the thing that just worries me about that is it'd be kind of more it's not obviously more the same. Obviously, their defense is stacked, but you don't really have anybody to throw the ball to. That's kind of been Sam Darnold's problem. I mean, with Carolina, you have DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, and they are both studs.
Mm-hmm.
They both have potential to be Pro Bowl caliber players each and every year, maybe even All Pro if they get lucky. But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a year under Big Ben, a little bit of grooming. But yeah, guys, Sam Darnold.
Hey, congratulations. Next quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I called it.
He called it. Congrats on winning a Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin.
Hey, congrats, Mike Tomlin. Jacoby Jones is running down the sideline. Make sure you stop him, Mike Tomlin.
Stick a leg out.
Yes, congratulations. Congratulations, Sam Darnold. But yeah, Jets.
Jets.
Hopefully we see a little bit of closure in this quarterback market, because it is wild. And even with nothing happening, it is wild. And hey, even more positions might be opening with what we thought wouldn't happen. Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it's even more likely than we thought. But hey, who knows?
Yeah, just saw reports.
Only time will tell.
Just saw reports today that they are answering calls about trade for Russell Wilson,
which could mean everything or could mean literally nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
It is
at
just
all.
speculation. But keep your eyes out. Keep your nose out. Don't know what that means, but do
NFL
it.
check-in. Keep them out.
Guys, that's our time in the NFL this week. Not a ton going on around the league, but you know where there is a lot going on, Austin?
The NBA.
Ooh.
The National Basketball Association.
Yes. We're not a league, we're an association. And right now,
absolutely. Congrats.
The team that is red hot in that association, they're probably not their mascot, but the name of their team is also red hot. That's the Suns.
Their mascot is a gorilla, by the way, not red hot.
It makes a lot of sense. Because
Darren Till is their mascot, the gorilla.
Yeah.
But a team that who honestly thought was going to have the kind of year that they're having, obviously that record is being inflated a little bit by their good run of late. But, I mean, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, I mean, what more can you ask, right? That's a key player at all three levels. A distributor, a guy that can get his shots, and a big dude that'll just dunk on people and get rebounds. It's like, what more could you want? And
I know, and it seems like the CP3 experiment has gone extremely well. I mean, last year he went to the Thunder. No one thought anything was going to happen. Oh, maybe CP3's kind of washed. Nope, he's still a stud. Guys, every time he gets on the court, everybody automatically gets a +3 on their 2K grade because he's one of the few players in the NBA that I can think of off the top of my head. Literally, him and LeBron James are the two players in the NBA that when they step on the court, your 2K rating is going up by 3, just because they make everybody so much better around them. And that's happening. That happened with the Thunder. That's happening with the Suns this year. Like you were saying, Austin, he's a distributor. He can get his buck when he wants it, but also he's a distributor, and he's making everybody so much better around him. And that's the reason they're second in the West. They didn't add anything else besides Chris Paul. That's literally the difference between not making the playoffs and being the second seed in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Thunder last year, I mean, Chris Paul was the difference between a playoff team and probably top 3 pick in the draft.
We'll say top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah, definitely top 5.
And he allowed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to come out of his shell. He's grooming up players in Phoenix. I love it, and I know one of our good friends, Grant, also loves it. But shout out Grant
Shout out the Suns.
and shout out the Suns.
Yeah, and obviously they're playing well, and I'm going to give every single bit of credit to Chris Paul, as we've talked about, because, well, he makes everyone better on the court, off the court.
+3.
+3. Not a clue what that means. Oh,
2K rating.
Yeah, the +3 2K rating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you a single other person in the league other than LeBron James that has that effect on players.
That's the reason Chris Paul wears 3, by the way.
Yeah, because he adds 3 to everyone's rating.
Mhm.
Yeah, you heard it here first. But he's gotten all this credit for a good reason. He's one of the best guards we've ever seen,
reason.
one of the best point guards of all time, and he definitely just brings a certain expectation, a certain energy, and just a winning mentality, as well as a great play on the court. And I definitely equate him somewhat to some of the older guys. I'm going to say Jason Kidd, because I loved Jason Kidd when I was younger. He definitely had that effect, especially as he was getting older, of just making everyone better around him, even though his physical attributes weren't even what they were, even though his weren't the highest. But just making players better and just being a part of a team as the spotlight goes away from you in your waning years of your NBA career. But hey, congratulations to Chris Paul. He's an all-star. He's an all-star.
He's an all-star.
Congratulations, Chris Paul, on being an all-star. Because he is the best player on the Suns, which I kind of feel bad for Devin Booker, because he doesn't deserve any of the credit.
No, I mean, they weren't a playoff team last year.
No, they weren't.
Booker.
But congratulations, 7 points.
Obviously, Devin Booker needed someone like Chris Paul to get him the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, congratulations, Chris Paul, being an all-star. And guys, we're coming up on All-Star Weekend this weekend. Are we excited for anything?
No, next topic. The one thing that I was excited for leading up to All-Star Weekend, which I guess technically still we are leading up to All-Star Weekend, but it doesn't seem like it, was whether or not the players were going to play, because I don't think it's necessarily smart to have the players play if you want to be a conscious league, because you're bringing in players from not 30 teams, of course, because some of them are awful, but effectively you're bringing in players from 30 teams to all be in one spot on one night, which does not seem smart. And of course, the superstars said something about it, but it seems like they gave in and they're going to play, which I don't really understand. But hey, it's happening, and I hope it goes well, and I hope people watch. I'm not going to say whether or not I will, because that's probably a flip of a coin.
I won't.
Because, well, 3-point contest is always tempting.
Yeah, but I guess the one thing I'm excited for is the trade deadline.
Definitely.
Maybe see if there's some moves going on. That's literally it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Good
deadline mid-season.
I never really look forward to the All-Star game. It's like, it's there, but to me, it's like the highlight game. I don't, watch the Pro Bowl either, or the MLB's All-Star game. So it's home run derby in the MLB, and that's it. And the dunk contest is too long, so it's just a highlight thing for me now too. So yeah, just like you, Carson, 3-point contest is pretty much the only one, just like the home run derby in the MLB.
Mm.
But one good thing about All-Star Weekend means we're halfway through the season.
Ooh, halfway.
And this year, it's a little bit different than other years. Most years we have an 82-game NBA season. This year we have a 72-game season, so we're looking about 36 games left. And guys, what makes this season, aside from obviously 10 games less, what's going to make these last 36 games for every team different than years before?
Yeah, the teams that are at the bottom are definitely more uncomfortable now. You might think, the difference between, just 10 games, so assume it's 5 games difference at the halfway point in the season. The teams at the bottom are still like, we have less time to make a run for it. And that's more true in the West, because in the East it's like, I swear 11 out of the 15 teams could make the playoffs, and the 8 seed could be the 1 seed tomorrow.
Last week when we were having the podcast, the difference between, 3 and 11 or 4 and 11 seed was 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like in the East, all those teams are like winning is an absolute must right now because there's so few games left in the season. Even if it is just 5 less than usual, that adds a lot of pressure because those 5 games make a big difference whenever there's only 2 games between the teams. And in the West, the teams that are at the bottom are like, well, instead of having a 60% win percentage to close out the season to make the playoffs, we have to have a 70 win percentage to make the playoffs this year, just because there's less games.
Yeah, it's definitely going to make it more competitive. It's going to make it more like, obviously, how the NFL, every game counts. Obviously, it's not going to matter as much as the NFL games, but still, games have a lot more weight added onto them. So that'll be more interesting to see players trying in regular season because, they are fighting for seeds. But quick update, difference between 4 and 10 seed this week is 2 games. So we kind of cut another team out, but still very narrow.
Yeah, I mean, any team could enter that race at any given point with a 2 or 3 game winning streak, and that's just the beauty of the ups and downs of basketball.
The Knicks are in the playoffs.
I know the Knicks are in the playoffs. Congratulations,
5
New York.
seed Julius Randle.
Congratulations, Stephen A. Smith.
Congrats,
and
Spike
Julius
Lee.
Randle is an all-star. So congrats, Spike Lee.
And I think I put him on my lookout for breakout stars week 0 of the podcast.
Yeah,
so,
I know we talked about him a lot on and off the podcast because he's a stud and he deserves all the recognition.
He does. He's a tank too.
But he plays for the Knicks.
So we'll see if anything happens.
So we'll see. I know one thing that I've thought with this being split into the second half is like what sort of progress is made in the second half in terms of off the court, because we've seen a lot of these games be held without fans, and hopefully we can ramp it up safely to having some fans, to hopefully having actual meaning to having home court in the playoffs. I know home fans haven't made a difference to the Sixers. They've still lost like 2 games at home, which will never change. They're unreal. But I would like to see playoff games with fans. I think it will make a really big difference on the court, especially after it being so long for having fans. But that's one thing that I'm looking out for the NBA, and I really hope that there's a big difference in that in the second half.
Well, Hornets in like a month this Friday, pre-sale for tickets. So they're going to have fans here soon.
Which is wild.
I'm looking to go to see my 6 seed Hornets, LaMelo Ball play.
He's a stud. That's your Hornets check-in. They're selling tickets.
They are selling tickets, and a little bit more for Hornets check-in. LaMelo's averaging 20 points as a starter, and he's a beast.
He's a beast.
That's it, I guess, for
back
your...
and forth with Melo the other night was...
Oh, that was awesome. They traded jersey at the end, too.
Yeah, which we still don't know if that's allowed, but we love it. We love it.
They're rich enough to pay.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations on being rich.
And congratulations, LaMelo, for being my second favorite player in the NBA.
Probably me, too, just because he's on the Hornets.
Not because he's on the Hornets. Because I love
have
him.
a new
okay, if he was on the Clippers, I could not pull for him.
Well,
Carson,
I could definitely pull for him anywhere.
Tell me, though, that your new favorite player that's dropped LeBron to 3 after LaMelo, your new number 1 is TJ McConnell, right?
Well, it would be TJ McConnell if it wasn't for Zion, because he breaks all rules. But TJ McConnell has moved up probably 300% in my personal rankings because this might have been the biggest news of the week.
Honestly.
Triple-double, points, assists, steals. Like, it's honestly, it's one of the most impressive stat lines because, well, I could probably count how many times in the past 10 years that someone's gotten 10 steals in a game. And it's not any more than I could fit on one hand.
Yeah, in terms of 2K
I know
value,
no one's done it since Draymond, correct?
Correct. In terms of 2K value, TJ McConnell went from, I just need to save some cap space and I need a point guard, to, oh my gosh, TJ McConnell is a franchise point guard.
TJ McConnell is the franchise point guard.
Has been.
You heard it here first.
And always will be.
10 steals in a game. Unreal.
Congratulations on Defensive Player of the Year, TJ.
Hey, congratulations, TJ McConnell. But hey, that's our check-in on the NBA. We love the NBA. The NBA might love us.
They do.
We don't really have that confirmed yet, but we'd like to think so. And we really hope to see these teams fighting it out in the second half of the season. And that's just so happens to be a perfect segue into our next conversation, which is big fight night. Probably one of the biggest cards I have ever seen.
Yeah.
3 title fights, which is possibly unheard of. Can we hear if that's a record?
It happened in July.
It happened in July, but this is it. I'm still calling it a record because one of those title fights has two title holders going against each other. So this is the most stat card in history. You heard it here first. Yep. I'm unqualified. But what are we seeing for Saturday night?
Yeah, this is definitely the sport highlight of the week. UFC 259, like Carson was saying, huge fight night. It's going to start off with, I can't pronounce half these people's names, but we're going to say Peter versus Sterling Nunes, who has to be the greatest women's fighter of all time, versus Anderson. And then your main event of the evening, middleweight champion Israel Adesanya versus light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz. That was also a mouthful. And we're going to see who's the true light heavyweight king. But it's going to be interesting. Not many people have been champ before. Only Israel Adesanya is trying to be the fourth person in history to become champ. Actually, fifth. I'm correcting myself again. McGregor, Cejudo, Cormier, and Nunes. Only other people who have been champ. And it's a pretty new trend. Conor kind of made that popular, but it's going to be really exciting. Very exclusive club, and it's UFC royalty at this point on the line for Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, and there's hardly any criticism and hardly anything at stake for him if he loses because, well, this is not his natural weight. He's already a champion, win or lose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just him trying to show that he's a better fighter than everyone else, no matter the size, no matter the weight, no matter the skill. And hey, I think he's exciting. I think that he's as good as it gets. And, we're not necessarily in the predictions, but I would probably pick him against pretty much everybody he could be put up against.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting seeing him. He said he could weigh in as little as 193 pounds, which, that means he's not cutting weight for this fight at all.
Yeah, light heavyweight's 205.
Yeah, 205 max. Blachowicz, on the other hand, is probably going to be coming in, weighing 220 the night of the fight after weigh-ins. And they're saying that he could even be overweight at weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Correct? And so, obviously, that wouldn't be very professional of him, so hopefully he gets that down. But it's going to be, obviously, 220 pounds versus 193 pounds, and UFC is a lot of weight. But it's going to give Adesanya the speed advantage, the quickness advantage. Obviously, one punch from Blachowicz, the Polish power, could end the night.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen Adesanya take punches. We've seen him go back and forth with Gaslam. That's probably his biggest test ever. He came out bruised, scarred, but he didn't even hit the ground once. So it's going to be a really interesting fight. Obviously, most eyes will be on that. But, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and it's hard not to be excited for it. It's going to be awesome. I definitely think that Blachowicz is going to try to take him down because Israel has a background in boxing and kickboxing, and he's going to try to stay away and beat him up and poke at him and pick at him.
Mm-hmm. But I don't even know if Adesanya's been taken down at middleweight before.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be 6'4". His advantage with that weight advantage as well. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how his takedowns are, and we'll see how good Izzy is at defending those takedowns. So do we want to go ahead and pick this? I think we're probably going to be unanimous, so we should probably go ahead and pick this.
Yeah. Adesanya.
Austin, but you got him.
I got Adesanya.
It's going to be Adesanya, but like I said, one punch from Blachowicz could end the night. And so I wouldn't – obviously, I think I'm the only one that does a decent amount of sports betting here. I'm not putting money on the fight because it really could be one punch and you're out.
Yeah, I'm not selling my house for it.
Nope.
Yeah. Both of those guys have the kind of just explosive knockout power that it's I mean, a human foot, regardless of how much you weigh, is still bones hitting your jaw, which hurts.
Yeah, it's still a
Israel lands
foot.
a good one
Foot is a foot.
on the jaw. It could very well be the end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's hard to debate against that as the main event, but there's also another absolute beast fighting, and the fight right before this fight,
Gosh.
Amanda Nunes. I think it's hard to count against her as the GOAT. It's pretty undisputed at this point.
Yep.
And there's really not much to talk about with our picks because we're all picking Nunes. It's stupid not to. It's something
not
that
close.
it's something that I would say sell your house on. I'd be surprised if the fight goes more than a round. But on to the last fight, which a lot of people are saying that it's going to be the best fight on the card. Bryce, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this fight coming into it, it's literally a coin toss according to Vegas. They're both coming in at minus 110. So apparently put your money on whoever you want. You're going to have an equal chance of getting that money back. But it's a really great time for the bantamweight division to be on this card. The bantamweight division is absolutely stacked, but they don't have that star power that other divisions are looking. I mean, lightweight, you have your Conor McGregors of the world, and Khabibs of the world. Light heavyweight, historically, you've had your John Jones, Daniel Cormier, middleweight, Israel Adesanya. You had stars lined up everywhere. That's what makes these divisions notable. But with bantamweight, you never had anybody who's been that star. And, that's what we're really hoping this fight Petter versus Sterling really puts on. That they need a face, they need an identity because there's so many good fighters. I mean, the only fighter really there's two fighters with recognizable in that division. That's Cody Garbrandt and Sean O'Malley.
Mm-hmm.
And Garbrandt and O'Malley have both been struggling as of late. We haven't seen Garbrandt fight in almost a year at this point. I think it was last March. So yeah, they're really lacking star power, and this fight's going to be really good to put the bantamweight division on the map. So keep an eye out for it. Either one of these guys could rule the division for years and years to come. They're both very young. I think Petter's like 27 and Sterling's 28 or something. So yeah, keep your eyes out on this fight. It's going to be really interesting. For this fight, I mean, in terms of picking it, you have a wrestler versus a striker. Pick your poison. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them.
Well, then who you got?
I don't know.
Peter Yan?
Just because
or Aljamain Sterling?
Just because his name's Peter, I'm going with Peter.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm going with Sterling just for the sake of being on the other side because I knew Bryce would go with Peter Yan. Yeah. But he's the champ.
Yeah.
So
that is important to note.
Important to remember. It might be a toss-up, but he is the champ right now. So the division goes through him, and it's going through him Saturday night. Austin, who you got?
It's always interesting whenever you talk about the UFC because, like we said with the Adesanya fight, it's so true of any fight. You run into one right hand or left hand or one knee, and it doesn't matter how tough you are, how good of a fighter you are, you go down, right? Mm-hmm. And then you just get the snot beat out of you, sometimes literally. So it's hard to pick fights, especially ones that are close like this one, but I got to give it to the champ. I think it's way easier to defend than it is to challenge, especially because you've been there and you've done it. And I think the legacy builder is defending the championship, which adds some energy to the fight. Someone's
and
definitely
to be
going
fair,
to remember you if you defend it 3 times as opposed to win it once. So
yeah, I'm going to build off that a little bit with Izzy. He took the interim belt versus Gaslam, and he was still fresh fighter coming out of his kickboxing career. No one really took him legitly. Yeah, he had a personality, but he wasn't a star yet. Mm-hmm. It's these consecutive defenses that he's having that's truly made him a UFC darling and UFC star. It's a mixture between personality and defenses. And so, or obviously, in a lot of people's cases, champ. That automatically puts you on the map forever. But yeah, hopefully, Petter can become the name for the bantamweight division because there hadn't been a name in that division since Jose Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I know Austin actually had one of the craziest knockouts in UFC history today.
That's true. Just playing a simple match on UFC 3. Still behind on the.
Ooh, shout out UFC 3.
Yeah, shout out UFC 3. Still being better than UFC 4 because I own it and I don't own UFC 4. And
interesting take.
I do. But
to put it into a visual for all of our viewers that are at home. My character kicked someone so hard, the man's feet left the ground. And I'm just going to say it.
And
we're going to see that in real life on Saturday night. Israel is going to make Jan take flight.
Ooh. Interesting.
It's going to be
that's all right there.
It's going to be a front kick, not a head kick, but a front kick that literally lifts the man off the ground.
I think there's only been 3 front kick knockouts in UFC history, so we'll see if
we're unqualified.
That almost sounds like a hook and pick if I've ever heard it. But
honestly.
But speaking of that, Carson.
Oh,
we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We're getting there. You're a little excited.
Just a little tease. Just a little tease.
We've got a little knowledge test first. Austin, what do you got for us this week? Getting into our trivia.
So we've talked a lot about the UFC tonight, right? Obviously, UFC 259 is an unbelievably stacked card. Dana White is going to be rolling literally in the money from this pay-per-view. People around the world will be watching, some just to hear Bruce Buffer. But our trivia question this week is, who is the first UFC champion ever, regardless of weight class, the first person to win a UFC championship?
Well, I'm going to go on a limb here. I have no idea, and I'm going to go with a popular name in the fighting community. It's either A, Hulk Hogan, or B, Kimbo Slice.
That's a really good...
I don't know
if that's a good guess.
It's not at all. Kimbo Slice was so far after UFC 1.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go for real. I don't actually have a real guess. It's Hulk Hogan.
He doesn't have a real guess, but Hulk Hogan is probably right. I don't really have a guess. I mean, do we know what year UFC 1 was?
I will say this: it was not UFC 1. It was UFC 12, actually.
Okay. I mean, of course, my best guess, was going to be who you were just looking up. JDS Jr. Dos Santos. There's another guy who fought a couple weeks ago. They were talking about him he's 39 years old and has just taken fights, and he's kind of like a entrance gate for UFC, like that they give young fighters. That he used to be a champ.
That heavyweight dude that the British dude fought?
Yes, that the British guy fought. I don't remember his name, but I think that's a good guess. But, of course, I'm just going to go Chuck Liddell because that's the only guess I have.
As much as I love the Iceman and Hulk Hogan, give us a woo in the comments.
Ooh.
Neither of those are correct.
A woo for Ric Flair?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Or Pop Smoke.
A woo for Ric Flair, but a brother for Hulk Hogan.
Brother.
Who is it, Austin?
Who we got?
It was a bit of a doozy, actually, because if you go the old UFC, it would actually be UFC 6, which was in 1995, but I wasn't counting that as an actual championship because it was open weight. There was no weight classes, and Ken Shamrock defeated Dan Severn to win the open weight title, but the one that I would count as the real first title came in UFC 12, which is in 1997, and it was Mark Coleman defeating Dan Severn, the same person, in Dothan, Alabama.
Wow. That's the roots of UFC right there.
Dothan,
That's
Alabama.
Crazy. Also, Austin, in your research, did you did you see whether or not the old UFC, if they would agree on a weight, or if that was just whatever weight you came in?
I don't know. It was specifically called the heavyweight championship, though, at that point, which was
Interesting.
206 to 265. You could be anywhere between 206 and 265.
Well, that's how heavyweight is now. You could come in at 350. No, probably
No.
not.
No,
You can come
probably
in
not.
at you can come in at 20.
Six.
Well, technically, you could come in at 150 if you wanted.
Yeah.
Correct.
No.
No, I don't
You
think.
sure?
I think there is a bottom line
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably 206.
to make sure someone
'Cause
doesn't
people
get
still fight up.
murdered.
You have to gain weight.
Okay.
But yeah, that title reign lasted 170 days, so a pretty good reign
Wow.
for him.
Hey, congratulations.
And the third one on the list I have to mention because it was Randy Couture. So
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I know Bryce was really excited to get to it, and I can't really introduce my own segment
But we're going to have Austin
that
do
I'm
it
very humble about,
because I think Austin has some stats for us.
I did.
that I don't want to hear.
Yeah, a little secret about Unqualified Sports Talk. Anytime we reference the stat man, that's my side monitor. I'm Googling or looking it up on our Unqualified Sports Talk database.
Yeah, we have one,
Yes. So
but we're
Carson,
unqualified.
$8 a month to subscribe to it if you want it.
Yeah, $8 a month.
after reviewing the play
Yeah.
through 4 weeks of Hook'em Picks, episode 0, 1,
Wait,
2,
I want to
3.
guess. I want to guess.
You can
I
guess.
wanna
I'll
guess.
allot you one guess.
All right. So we've had 4 episodes
So 12 picks.
where I've made 3 guesses each.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've gotten. I'm gonna guess I'm 4 and 8.
Wow. You are really close, actually, Carson.
Please don't be 3 and 9. Please
You are
be 5 and 7.
4-7, and you had one
And one.
postponement.
Let's go. That is perfect.
The Tennessee and Florida game that you picked got postponed.
That was gonna be right. Hook'em Gators.
Yep, and they'll play.
So
this
really
weekend.
5
I
and
think they
7?
play this
So I'm
weekend.
5 and 7. I'm 5 and 7.
So, but
I'm not
Carson,
picking that game again.
I want to point out that of your 4 correct picks, 2 of them came in the same week,
Okay.
and so your best week has been 2 and 1, and your worst week has been 0 and 3. So
Yeah, that's tough. Last week was a tough week, and I also had a tough week, Jared week. But I'm picking him his next infinite amount of fights because I love him, and there's no shame in that. But hey, hook him.
absolutely. So who you got this week, Carson? What's on the docket for maybe your first 3-0 week?
Maybe this
Maybe.
this is going to be my first 3-0 week, and
Mhm,
I'm going to
mhm.
say that every week
Mm-hmm.
until I have a 3-0 week. And this is a special week. I'll get to it in a second. But first, we have what might be a battle for a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament between number 4 Illinois and number 7 Ohio State. And I think that this is going to be a game to watch. And I'm picking Illinois. Hook'em fighting Illini. They haven't been to the Final Four in 16 years.
Was that Darren Williams' year?
That was Darren Williams' year.
How about that?
2005,
Gosh.
which is tough.
Wow.
Tough. It's been a while, but I'm picking them to beat Ohio State. They've won 3 in a row. Ohio State's lost 3 in a row, which is kind of tough. And Illinois just destroyed Michigan.
They absolutely
Tuesday night,
obliterated
they
them.
demolished them.
It was awesome.
And there was conversation about Michigan being the best team in the country. So
Dismissed.
that's a statement for Illinois, and they've got another top 10 team coming up, and I'm picking them. So Hook'em fighting Illini. Hook'em. And then our next 2 picks, you might have not expected it, but I'm picking the dunk contest and the 3-point contest. For the dunk contest, for those of you who don't know, it's Cassius Stanley, Obi Toppin, and Anthony Simmons. And I'm taking Cassius Stanley based off one reason and one reason only. And it's the fact that he had the highest vertical rated in the 2020 draft. Even though he has a total of 9 points on the entire season.
He's a buck, plus minus a 1.
He has 9 points on the entire season and less than 24 minutes. But for some reason, they have him in the dunk contest.
Because he can jump.
Because he can jump, which is the only reason, and it's the reason I'm taking him. I like the trend of younger players, but I would rather have superstars.
Yeah.
It's cool. They're trying to get these younger guys
Exposure,
a platform. Because they might not necessarily either get minutes or get TV games, important TV games. as you see with Obi Toppin, because I doubt he will get late season important games playing for the Knicks. But congratulations to Cassius Stanley. Hook 'em, Cassius Stanley. He's going to win the dunk contest.
2021 dunk contest champion.
2020 champion. Crown him now. Congratulations. It is definitely taken with a grain of salt, because whether or not he's the winner or the crowned winner is different, because we saw Aaron Gordon actually win it, but he didn't win it twice. So
I hate Derek Jones Jr., by the way.
I'm counting that as a win if I think he wins.
No.
Yep.
No.
We'll have to go to the rule book on that one.
All right, we'll go to the rule book on that. We'll go to our database, $8 a month. And then for the 3-point contest, I was going to pick Seth Curry, but I've just gotten news that he's not in the 3-point contest for some reason. So I was very disappointed with that.
You can still pick him.
So I'm taking... Well, I'm not going to give myself an instant loss. I'm going to go with the next best thing, a worst 3-point shooter. I'm going to go with Steph Curry over the Celtic brothers, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Well, I think that's a pretty good choice.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice, but it's not nearly as good as it could have been. Hook 'em, Seth Curry, and I guess hook 'em Steph too.
Hook 'em, Dell.
Hook 'em Seth.
Hook 'em Seth. Hook 'em Dell for making them.
Hook 'em Aisha.
Hook 'em. Nope. Yeah, hook 'em. But yeah, that's my hook 'em picks of the week. First 3-0 week, and I'm going to keep saying that every week.
Good.
I know that's a crowd favorite.
Absolutely is, just because you're going at it.
Good.
But guys, we know, we like to throw in a random sports fact this week in sports. Last week we had Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 points. This week we have the biggest sports contract in history.
Congratulations.
Guys, in 1930, this week, Babe Ruth signed a contract for $160,000 over 2 years. And the Yankees general manager, in quotes, stated, "This is going to be the most expensive contract of all time."
And it's wrong.
But at least it's close, right?
It's close.
It's close, yeah.
He might have had the biggest hot take of all time.
Yeah, and just for reference, $160,000 in 1930 is equivalent to $2.5 million today. So that's 2 years, $2.5 million. That is not exactly the biggest contract.
That's
not
about
even the
league
veteran
minimum for veterans. Yeah.
But hey, congratulations to Babe Ruth, right?
I mean, he made a killing, y'all. Biggest contract in sports history.
He made more money than 90% of the people in America had, period.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, congratulations to him. And he did have a funny quote, so I'm going to give it to you. Someone said to him that he had a higher annual salary than the president, Herbert Hoover, at the time. And then Babe Ruth said, "Why not? I had a better year than he did." So, hey, congratulations to Babe Ruth. Congratulations, Herbert Hoover.
Congratulations, Babe Ruth, future president of the United States of America.
$160,000 over 2 years. But yeah, that's this week in sports history. I know we're celebrating that. It's definitely monumental for us.
Mm-hmm.
$2.5 million over 2 years. But we love that segment. We love that part. We love reflecting on the past. And congratulations, Babe Ruth.
We're excited. Guys, now to end the show this week, we have a what if segment. We had what if last week with what if CP3 got traded to the Lakers in 2011 to pair up with Kobe. We're going back to our NBA roots again this week, ladies and gentlemen. Today's what if question: what if the NBA All-Star Game actually mattered and there was some sort of incentive? I'm going to let y'all come up with a hypothetical or a couple hypotheticals for what these incentives could be, but let me hear you talk about them.
Austin, what do you think?
So I'm going to let you take the obvious one that we talked about. So I'm going to come up with my own wild hypothetical, right? And it's going to be so off the wall and so crazy that I'm never going to be able to live it down.
Of course. I cannot wait.
But if you win the NBA All-Star Game, you get to play your next home game, your entire team. So it's going to be East-West, and then every player every team that was represented on the winning side, so all 5 of the East teams that get represented, or however many, right?
Yeah.
The next game, every player gets to wear moon shoes. Next home game.
Cool. Austin, you cut out for a second. Why don't you restart that sentence?
gets to wear moon shoes in the next game.
So they can jump 30,000 feet in the air.
So they can high five the shot clock.
That would be pretty sweet. And that would be maybe an advantage. I'm not exactly sure if that's an advantage or not.
I mean, you got the vertical advantage, but maybe
And-
not so the lateral advantage.
Yeah, or any advantage. That has to hurt your shooting.
You're shooting down.
Literally. I don't think moon shoes work that good.
And no, in this hypothetical, the moon shoes are just anti-gravity.
They're really
they're,
good moon
they're-
shoes.
They're
Okay.
advanced. They're created by Elon Musk or Must or Mustard or whatever his last name is. They,
Yeah, of course.
They look like
Smelly.
the Tesla truck, but on your shoes or on your feet.
Of course.
So,
Yeah. Which, of course, that is probably more likely than the other alternative, which is, of course, I think it's been discussed before, and that's the winning side, it being East-West, having home court advantage in the finals. I know baseball did it for, it was 14 years, and it came in with mixed reviews, and it left with mixed reviews, whether or not people liked that it was a thing and whether or not it worked. I know when it was in baseball, 11 out of the 14 years it was won by the American League, which is obviously the problem when you think about it, because one side is obviously going to be better. We've seen that with the West for a very long time. So I definitely think that's a lot better for in terms of incentivizing playing hard in the game. I don't think it would work as well because it could just be out of the hands of the players. And then what good is that? And just a quick note on when it was implemented in Major League Baseball. Only 3 years did the series ever go to 7 games, and 2 years out of those 3, the team without the advantage won. So it didn't seem like it made that big of a difference anyway. But I am an advocate of it. I think that it should just at least be put in for a little bit, try it out, because the All-Star game is poor at best.
Yep, both of those, especially Austin's, would really shake up the league.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to see people playing actually instead of the final score being 180 to 170 every year. But yeah, I think those are awesome.
Yeah, this year it's 235 to 221. That's my
Final
guess.
score?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Final score. I'm not even going to make a prediction because I'm going to agree with you. And you're not going to find that a lot because I don't agree with Austin.
Except about moon shoes.
That's really, except about moon shoes. That's a really good hot take to end the show. That's a really good hot take to put on your minds because it is going to happen. We just spoke it into existence. But please remember, we are unqualified. We are very unqualified. And hey, we know your favorite segment's the trivia, but we like to end the show with a little bit of different stuff. Please send us trivia questions on Instagram or Twitter if you would like to have us talk about it. We love trivia more than anything, and I know that we would take more and more if possible. But yeah, follow us on all of our outlets. I know they're linked under our podcasts. And thank you for listening. It's been a really good week in sports, and we appreciate you.